Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So, if you know me, you know my name is Corsair Nut on RC Groups, but you also know that I probably love Bearcats more than I love Corsairs. And I've always wanted a scale Bearcat with scale landing gear and big. And look what we got here. So, my friend Chris Puckett sold me this, even though we haven't discussed a price yet. This was his. He's had it for a while. Um, if you're not familiar with Chris Puckett, he used to work for Horizon and designed a number of their models for E-Flight and worked there for a long time. Lives in Arizona now. Anyways, I was at his house because I was at Arizona Warbirds and Classics this last weekend and stayed at his house and got to talking, and I was like, hey, do you want to get rid of that Bearcat? And as it turns out, he's looking to make room, so now it's in my house. This is a Norwegian model. I believe it's Norwegian Model Tech or something like that. So it's a composite fuselage with a foam core wing. But check out the goodies this little feller has. Big feller, actually. This thing's huge. So my old Bearcat, the VQ Bearcat, was 79 inches, I believe, 79 and a half. This is 86 and a half from what it looks like when I measured it. But this being a scale Bearcat as compared to the VQ, this wing is giant. It's only 6 or 7 inches larger in span, but oh my gosh, like the cord on this thing is just huge. This is a big model compared to the VQ. It's substantially larger. Anyways, obviously the pièce de résistance is the scale landing gear. We got scale Bearcat wheels, huge plus. They're even nice and skinny like the real ones. It's got, well, technically it's missing, apparently the previous owner jacked one side of the fake brakes, but it's got fake brakes on it. It's got the inner gear doors. And I'll give you a close-up of the, and obviously this is going to be on the channel, so there'll be multiple videos of this thing. I'll show you the gear swing and everything, but here's the gear mechanism for the folding mains. It has scale cooling exits, so on the real one, the oil coolers exit down here. They aren't holes, so I'm probably going to change that. They're actually big vents, and it has like a flapper door that opens and closes. So I'm going to get rid of these holes and do that scale at some point. But another really cool feature is that actually there's a number of cool features, but one of them is that the exhaust, or the cooling air, exits through the actual cowl flaps. But check this out. The cowl flaps are tied to the throttle, so full throttle, they open up all the way. So you can see through there, air comes out. Now this is a Bryson 5.8. This is like a 100cc single cylinder engine. This is a big boy. And this giant silver contraption right here is a aluminum motor mount / muffler. So this whole cylinder is a big... Where was I before I was rudely interrupted by a tenant of the household, aka my wife? Okay, so this is the muffler, this huge canister thing. Obviously it comes off the side of the motor right here. This is just a large volume muffler thing. Anyways, it has steel pipes. Anyways, so it's got these steel exhaust pipes that come off of the muffler, and from what Chris says, it sounds really cool. I'm sure it's got a very different sound from a traditional single cylinder two-stroke. So we got the moving cowl flaps with the throttle, which is super cool. Definitely a neat feature. It has all internal flight control actuation, which can be good if it's done properly. I'm gonna have to replace all the servos probably. I have to change some of the things. I mean, overall it's built pretty nice. There's a few weird things, like I don't care for how the flight control blade seals are kind of like angled up like that. They're kind of like warped or something. And obviously this whole thing's getting repainted. It's painted metallic blue. which honestly at first glance it doesn't look terrible. It's going to fly like this for the first little while, but eventually it's going to get repainted. And since I happen to have a bunch of paint left over for my Panther, I guess I'll be painting it. So anyways, it's got the scale tail wheel. It's even got a actual, I don't know how well that works, but it's an actual hard tire, like a solid rubber little tire like the real one has. But it's got the scale retract unit for the tail. A couple things are broken off, like this little chime thing that it has underneath here that's cracked off. I think it needs some reinforcement in the stabs. The tails are fabric covered, which is pretty cool. But again, I'm gonna have to kind of like really give this thing a good once over. Apparently, the canopy is on an air cylinder, and it opens up. I guess it's tied with the landing gear, which I can separate that as well. I mean, with the iX20, I can have a bunch of extra channels, so I can put that on a switch if I really wanted to, and I might. And obviously this canopy is super yellow, so I'm gonna have to replace that. I'll probably end up putting the Panther pilot in there because this pilot's, you know, kind of hokey. So, and the panel is pretty basic, so it needs some love and attention kind of everywhere, but I mean, it's a pretty cool starting point to be at. It's all just kind of maintenance stuff and finish work. So anyways, I'm gonna put the cowl back on it and the prop, and I'll take it outside and we'll do another couple little minutes talking about it. All right, so here she is on the ground, and the camera's kind of skewing, and I should take it outside and get farther away from it. It doesn't look like it looks on the camera in person. The nose doesn't look that bad. Anyways, step back and zoom in a little bit. So I would say the nose is a little long for scale, but it's not bad. The cowling at least is shaped properly. Yeah, so that's John Morgan's Vindicator back there, and that's a good sized model. This thing's a beast, man. It's freaking huge. Although after spending a weekend around some insanely large models in Arizona, this looks pretty normal. There was some huge models there, but man, this is a good sized model for sure. But man, she's sitting right. She looks awesome. Can't wait to hear how that motor sounds. I'm super curious. Anyways, so this is a new addition to the shop. Big thank you to Chris for allowing me to take it, and we'll see what we can do with it. Like I said, it's gonna take some work. Servos, maybe beef some of the structure stuff up, fix some little things here and there. Kind of basics when you're going over an old model like this. I mean, obviously the yellow canopy is gonna stay for now until I can find one. I think a Bates Bearcat canopy would probably work. The Bates Bearcat is about the same size. The Zroli Bearcat is also about the same size, the 86-inch version, but I don't really like the Zroli canopy. It's kind of too big. Even this one's a little bit on the big side, so it's not bad. I've seen worse. And wings a little flat. Should have more dihedral than that, but honestly, it's a really good looking model. It'll look nice with a proper paint job on it and everything else. So let me turn it around. I love those cowl flaps. That's a super neat little trick there. There's a big old fat body on this thing. I like the flaps too. It's got, you can get them nice and deployed like the real ones. Nice 45-degree angle. Anyways, the thing is sweet. Alright guys, so that's it. That's the new Bearcat project. Stay tuned for more on that. I don't know when I'm going to start working on it, but I'd imagine I'll start looking into parts for it, canopy and stuff. I got some servos left over from the Panther that I can replace most of these with, all the important stuff anyways. So probably start by doing that. And like I said, it's going to fly in this paint scheme at least, you know, a number of times to get it all dialed in and make sure it's all good to go before I spend a bunch of time repainting it. But yeah, it's a nice looking bird. And obviously Bearcats, there's not a lot to choose from as far as paint schemes go, so we'll see. Haven't decided, obviously. Got plenty of time to figure that out. But yeah, so it's totally awesome. Look forward to doing stuff with this, and stay tuned to the channel so you can see more content with this super sweet Bearcat. Until next time, we'll see you later. Oops. Wrong way. Well, it runs, but I think it needs to be adjusted and stuff. Pretty quiet, actually. Sweet! Couldn't help myself, had to start it. Ryan, why don't you can get off of it and come over here? Okay, so I couldn't help myself and I had to run it. Obviously the radio's not hooked up, so I was just actuating the throttle right here while my son held it. So anyways, after a few tries, it popped and actually started pretty quick, but wouldn't stay running for the first few times. Then once it would idle, then it would advance. So I just richened it up a little bit, and then it ran really good actually. So I just put a quick charge in the battery, so it wasn't fully charged or anything. But yeah, it has a nice sound. It's pretty quiet actually, which I was expecting because it's got a huge muffler. So, but what I wasn't expecting was the amount of smoke this thing puts out, which is pretty cool. Now, that fuel that I used, I don't remember if that was the fuel that I had for my radio or if it was the fuel that I had for my little 20cc, which had a bunch of oil in it. So either way, it's going to have better fuel the next time it runs. But I just wanted to start it just to see what it was like. And this motor pulls strong, and it actually runs pretty smooth once you get past idle. At idle, you know, it shakes everything pretty good. But anyways, so it's a Bryson 5.8. Old school motor with the mechanical advance on the ignition, which is kind of cool. And you know, it's retro, I guess you can call it. But anyways, pretty neat model. Super stoked. So I'm excited to get this thing going and flying, and seems like a pretty neat airplane. So I didn't mention it earlier, but it weighs, well, I'm told it weighs about 35 pounds. And it's an 86-inch wingspan. I don't know if I said that before, but yeah, 2612 prop. So big old prop. Anyways, hope you guys liked it, and soon we'll be flying this thing, hopefully. All right, so we're gonna do a little gear swing. So these gear have like a little up lock or a down lock on them, like a little tiny cylinder. That's the lock that ungoes there or unclips. Up. Okay. Then down. Give them a click. Now they're locked. So they have like a little lock mechanism in here that locks them when they're down. So pretty cool. Anyways, I mean, thought I'd show you guys that too. So anyways, now the video's over. We'll see you in the next one.